to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 112. My name is John Morgan. Cold Coffee is with me. We are at home in Las Vegas and really just at home at Boomers, if we're being honest about it. I mean, this is basically our home away from home.
Jiu-jitsu.
Shout out to Tommy Toho there. Listen, we're doing things a little different this week. It's not a Thirsty Thursday like you might expect. It's
that means we got to control what we drink.
I mean, not
We're
really.
We're going to pay a little bit more.
It's
still cheap. But
250 pints of frosty beverages instead of $1.25.
I know, right? Breaking the bank. Breaking the bank.
So we're doing it on a Wednesday. I would like to say
Tim.
– oh, thank you for that round of frosty beverages there. I would like to say that well, it kind of is because – we didn't get to do episode number 111 and a half, so I kind of wanted to jump in the mix a little bit. But you know what it really is? I'm about to go out of town for a month, and I promised my wife I would babysit tomorrow so that she could go out. So that she could go out.
She knows what you do on Thursday. You should have dropped the hammer and be like, babe, no Fridays.
Yeah. You're not
Doesn't
married,
work like
are
that.
you? Not married. Not married at all.
Still. You're married to me on Thursdays.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we had to go a day early just to keep my wife happy and to let her do her thing.
Keep the boss happy, huh?
Keep the Morgan boss happy before we hit the road for a while. I'm not going to be home much after this week. So let her go do her thing. We got together a day early. It's okay with me, though, because I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit bitter that we didn't get to do 111 and a half.
I'm not.
I
know what time it was?
Well,
by the time we got out of the press room, you sent that one picture, and I think it was a good reminder to people that have an idea. And we've been there a lot longer in some rooms, but it was 4 o'clock when you took the one picture, and we were still there for another maybe half hour, maybe I think. So by the time if we would have got home to try to tape it, and that takes an hour, 2 hours, more like 2 hours, and then you had to drive.
Right.
I had to go to the airport.
Well,
and I wanted to sleep.
That was the thing, is that by the time we got back to your Airbnb, your awesome Airbnb,
it was top 5 Airbnb,
top
5
notch, man. You did well in that one. By the time we got back, it was like 4:30, and I thought to myself, you know what, man? I'm just gonna let Cold Coffee go because if we sit down to do a post show, then I still gotta drive about half an hour back to my mom's house, and I'm like, that's just not gonna be safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll be falling asleep. So. Plus, we had the 18-hour drive home. I did, me and the wife. So,
That's brutal.
I thought to myself, I'll let you get some sleep, and I'll just go to my mom's house, and I'll do a little post something by myself. But by the time I got home, it was a little after 5. And remember, I'd gone to my son's birthday party that morning. So, normally I sleep in all day, but my son had a birthday party at my dad's house. So, I was just done. So, I was done. So, I couldn't do it then. But then I thought, you know what? It is the MMA Roadshow. I'll do one on the road. That'll be cool, right?
Like when we went to California when we did the lottery tickets.
Oh, that was fun,
That was
man.
a fun one.
That was cool. So I thought I'd do that. I was like, well, while my wife is driving, I could just be in the passenger seat going through it. But, man, just the exhaustion that we both had as we were driving back. She was sleeping when I was driving, and I needed to sleep when she was driving. So just never got it done. I was bummed because it was a hell of a card, man. It really was. But we're a day early. We're not that far removed. I figure we can still talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we can. I forgot it on some Wednesdays. They have a band that plays here tonight. So
it's not Thirsty Thursday. It's
not
Wild-Ass Wednesday.
Wild-Ass Wednesdays. Wildin' Out Wednesdays. So we have to make sure we wrap it up before they start doing drum checks and stuff in about an hour or so.
Oh, that won't be good. He's back here setting up gear behind you. All right, well, listen, we will talk about UFC 211 a little bit because there were some stories and some things that I want to talk about. But I want to touch base with you first on that. After we recorded the road show last week, the next day was a long day, the 2 weigh-ins, plus that summer kickoff press conference. And, man, did that thing get wild. Let me just say, we praised Dallas. It's my hometown, and we praised them for how they were showing up earlier in the week. Man, they showed up on fight night, but they showed up at that press conference too, man. There was a line around the building to get in.
That was a huge line.
And it was so – they were so into that press conference. I want to say I love those press conferences. It's hard to get to everybody. There's so many people up there to talk to. But I got to say, man, that show of force of the promo video running and then all of a sudden the curtain drops and boom, everybody's already in place and all. I was like, this is cool, man. I thought the UFC did that one good.
Yeah, it was nice. Me just speaking from a production standpoint was so caught off guard by what the setup was. Because, you couldn't see where the stage was. I wasn't quite sure how many people. So I had the complete wrong lens on for it. So by the time the curtain dropped, I was like, oh, there's no time because everybody was already on the stage.
Right.
So it was just like, well, we'll make do. Because if I
think
would have
about that
noticed
from your
how
point of
it
view.
was, I would have swapped gear and put a bigger lens on, so that would have been wouldn't have had to push in so much in post. But it is what it is. I just had no idea. But you're right. It was very, very neat. It was cool. It left a lot to be. It was anticipation for the drop, or just waiting. Because me being the geek that I am, I was thinking like, the Raptors, it's not going to rise up. How are they going to pull this screen up, And I'm thinking all this thing. I didn't even think about how they were going to drop it to the ground. But when they did, and to have everybody ready to go was great. Because honestly, if Dana would have did an intro for every person there, it would have added 15, 20 minutes.
Well, think about this. They've done it before, and I know this. So they've done two things before. First, they've done it where they introed everybody, and that sucks.
Took forever.
It's stupid. And the other thing, too, is the intro video this time, it was almost too fast because I feel like they were rattling off fights so fast you almost couldn't keep up. But that was way better than they were used to. Because remember, they've done like entire promo packages for each fight, and it's like, dude, this is taking forever.
It was much better like this because it had a lot more pop in the video. It was fun to watch. Because it just went from fight to fight to fight. And then just kind of made you think like, wow, later on this year is going to be pretty intense. There's some really, really good fights. But yeah. That was a crazy, crazy presser.
So here's what I want to ask you. So I got the opportunity to kick it off, and obviously I could tell right away. I mean, you want to get questions to everybody, but, man, you could tell by the reaction.
For the summer kickoff.
You could tell by the reaction, the positive and the negative for John Jones and Daniel Cormier were so much louder than anybody else. I was like, well, got to start here. I mean, I know this is the low-hanging – like, this is the easy one. Of course, everybody wants – but I was like, you know what? We got to start here with John. And, man, dude, like, they went at it, and that was awesome. I mean, they gave some good sound bites. It was funny because me – I'm thinking of you, again, talking about production. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about everybody trying to get their quotes. I'm trying to figure out how much do I lay out and just let it unfold, because it was starting to come off the rails a little bit. But, Anik was handling it instead of Dana because Dana was sick. Anik was kind of letting it go, and I was like, well, I feel like we should let it go too. Like don't interrupt. Like let him, even though it's a little bit of a kind of a childish back and forth or whatever. Like let him go at it a little bit.
It went for a while. I think at some point, you got to kind of try to ask a question, but. If they just start trading barbs and you're like, hey, guys, all right, how do you stop that without people being like, dude, yeah, you're going to get booed, and I think that was partially what everybody was hoping to see. And if anything else, it was interesting that last time we were in that same situation, Daniel, it seemed like he got booed right from the get-go and people were just on John, but I didn't get that feel this time. People let him say his piece. John Jones definitely got a big pop for him. But I think there was a lot of people that were kind of tired of it as well and weren't really jumping on Daniel.
Right.
So I think Daniel embraced it. He was a lot more in a better mood. Was happy about the whole situation.
And I like it, dude.
He's
got the kid gloves off, man.
Oh yeah,
he's taking swings. He's talking about coke. He's talking about sandblasting prostitutes.
That was really surprising.
Whatever the hell that means.
I don't know. It sounds fun. He made it sound fun. If John Jones is doing that, I want to do that too.
Life of a champion.
Right.
Sandblasting prostitutes. No, it was. Man, it was good to see them go back forward. But then it got a little crazy, right? Man, it's so weird, right? Because Michael Chiesa and Kevin Lee, I love that fight. I remember talking to some UFC PR people when it was first announced, saying, "Dude, I love this fight so much." Now. Granted, I know that, Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Lee in Oklahoma City, I bet it's going to be hard for him to sell tickets. You know what I mean? There's no, real draw there, natural,
Even not even just those guys. It's just Oklahoma City. I just don't see it as a big, strong city for MMA. And no offense, Oklahoma City. Maybe they'll show up and prove me wrong.
Trash, son.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a lot more of a basketball town or something like that. I don't think it. It maybe has a history in wrestling and things, the other stuff, but I just don't think it's going to.
We'll see.
Regardless of what card you put there,
Sunday night fight night. It's weird, so we're going to see.
Yeah.
But so here's my kind of thing, and we've talked about this stuff before. To me, we know I love Kevin Lee. That dude loves to talk shit.
Yeah.
And he's fun.
And he's gotten really good
and
at it.
I love Michael Chiesa, of course, man. Not only is he fun to watch, but he's such a good dude, man, and a class individual. So I love the fight, man. I really do.
Yep.
And I love the fact that they got in there and promoted a little bit. You know what I mean? You got to sell the fight, right? And they did. I think they obviously everybody was already going to watch John Jones and Daniel Cormier anyway.
Right.
I feel like Chiesa and Lee were like the big winners, quote unquote, of the press conference, the ones that like really used that platform to kind of elevate themselves. But at the same time, it did feel like kind of forced to me. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Lee just said like, I know his mom has tickets, and Michael Chiesa got him like, don't you talk about my mom? And that meme. Did you see the meme that Kevin Lee put out like the next day? It was like, like Happy Mother's Day. What'd you say about my mom? I mean, that's kind of what it felt like. Like I know that wasn't really like a your mama joke, right? I mean, it was. So I don't know. It felt a little forced.
It was, it definitely felt a little forced. But the part that made it real was that a punch was thrown, and it was thrown quickly. Like that's what happens. You have two top level guys going in there that they're not gonna dick around.
No hesitation.
You know, it wasn't a matter of like coming up and just puffing up chest, getting close. Let's get separated. It got real and it got violent. You know, and as much as I think if they would have just puffed up and got in their face, it would have cheapened it. Then it would have looked like it was like we're watching WWE. But it got real, and I think it really made it really, really exciting for me. You know, but it was funny to see Kevin after. He's like, man, you know, I didn't mean anything by it, and I didn't really even say anything. He's like, but, you know, if Michael was looking to go that way and wanted to amp himself up, you know, kudos on him. He's like, but I'll go there. But, you know, he wasn't, you know, apologetic in the sense that because he didn't really do anything wrong.
I don't think he
did. You know, and he even said in the back that the UFC sort of applauded him, or maybe not applaud him, but said he did the right thing. And I wanted to ask him, but I was like, I don't want to. You know, it was already 20 minutes long, and it was just like to ask him, like, well, what do you mean? They said you did right. Like they're glad you hyped it, or they said you know you needed to defend yourself. You know, but you know at that point when it's 20 minutes, we're missing fights. I was like, all right, enough's enough. You know, we'll pick that up in conversation
talk to him again.
later.
He's here in Vegas. We can talk to him.
So, but it was crazy. It stole the show. That was the very first video that I wanted to cut after it. You know, because I started, putting the highlight together. Then I was just like, oh man. It'd be stupid to not put that one out first because I know that's what people are going to hear about and that's what they want to talk about. And in a sense, they stole the summer kickoff.
I think they
not
did.
that that's what we want or aspire for the fighters to go there and do every time. You know, they get paid to fight in the cage. They don't get paid to fight at the presser and anything else. You know, we've seen where fights have broken out in the middle of lobbies, of hotels, and, you know, lucky in this situation, the only people that are going to get hurt in this melee was the security and other fighters around. There were no bystanders, there were no fans, but that's not the kind of thing that we want to represent the sport.
Well, that's the hard balance, right? Like, I think we both agree that was good. It was a good thing for them, for sales-wise, for all that stuff. It was good. But, like, sometimes it like reaches a point where you're like, dude, please don't let everybody try to be Conor McGregor because you're not going to be Conor McGregor, you know?
And it would have been really bad if every person up there would have started talking trash and then taking swings, you know, because that would have been the first thing that made the news. I mean, already the case won on that and made the rounds on the ESPNs and all the other stuff. And that's great that they're giving coverage, but are they giving the coverage for the right things?
Right.
You know, it'd be one thing if everybody went up there and do it, then everybody's going to be like, all right, yeah, that's that sport of brutality. You know, where's the sportsmanship? They can't even sit across from each other without throwing punches. Then I think it starts to lessen what fighters and the martial artists have done so long to build up.
I agree.
But it's human nature. You know, you get two guys get in there, and, you know, if you're amped up and if you're really just looking to sort of press it.
We know what it's like to be alpha males like that and have to, you know, kind of defend your territory.
Totally. Get away from my cheeseburger, motherfucker.
I will say this, man. I did think it sucked that Jones and Cormier didn't get to come together for the face-off. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't tell exactly what was going on, and there was such a busy weekend, especially with all the stuff I had going on in my personal life with my son's party and all that stuff. I meant to follow up because I think the issue was at least trying to read everybody's lips and everything. Is like, I don't think it was necessarily that they didn't want everybody on stage. I think it's just that they didn't want John coming on stage with the fake belt that he got from a fan or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was Daniel's call, if it was whatever, or if they were thinking that hey, that's a weapon that could be swung.
Right.
You know, they were just maybe thinking along those lines, or maybe Daniel was like, I'm not going up there if he's going to bring that on. Maybe it just got to some point.
It's a damn shame, though, dude. I mean, I know you would have had to have security holding back both guys. I know you would have. But
I wonder. I don't think they would have came to blows. I think they learned their lesson about that, but I don't know. This was also the same day that we saw something else happen. We haven't heard anything about those two getting fined or anything.
With Nunes and Shevchenko?
No, with Kevin Lee and Michael Chiesa.
Yeah. No.
You know, so But not that you want to put it. But I think those guys they've learned their lesson, at least in the sense like they realize that there's going to come a time where they're going to meet head to head. I mean, the date's already set. There's no reason to just put it out there. And they saw what happened last time. It was no good for anybody.
How funny would it have been though? Because everybody always says that Anik and Schaller look like each other. How funny would it have been if Anik had just gotten buried as they did?
What if Anik would have totally just Popeyed out and just like, no, John, and pushed him away like a beast that he is?
Oh man, I tweeted right before. I was like, man, I wish UFC would have flown Dave Schaller in to revisit and stand in for the face off.
Didn't somebody reply and had a picture of his face close up or something?
That was the greatest.
Oh, that was a crazy night. That was a crazy day.
Schaller was such a good dude, man. He was always I know you guys had some differences for a while, but he was always
that was just
good.
PR.
He was always good to us, but yeah, man, dude, that moment, that look of fear setting into his face when that thing was just it was just classic.
That was crazy.
The other thing that did come out that I want to touch on real quick, and then we'll talk about UFC 211. Garbrandt and Dillashaw not being there because Garbrandt's getting treatments to his back.
Yeah.
That fight's supposed to be in 7 weeks. There's no way they're going to fight.
What would they say? What is he getting?
He tore his back, and he's getting stem cell treatment in Germany for his back. There's no way he's going to fight. 7 weeks?
Like a muscle tear?
That's what he said. 7 weeks?
But it depends.
It
depends on how severe, though. If it's just a slight muscle tear,
dude,
stem cells does magical stuff.
I wouldn't.
Does magical stuff.
I don't
know why people are just trying to throw away all them stem cells from all them babies. There's good uses.
It's like we're wading into really uncomfortable territory.
I know. But I don't know. I imagine it's probably something less severe than it seems, and something maybe more of a repair sort of thing. But yeah, because at this point he would have already pulled out, unless he's just confident enough. He's like, I can go in 70%,
dude,
and still whip TJ's ass.
Bro, that's dangerous.
That is dangerous.
Like that. Don't be talking like that.
It is dangerous. But I don't know. I imagine at this point we're this close out that if it was something severe, they would have already pulled it by now. So if they're not, I'm confident that it's not as bad as it probably seems.
I'm not confident.
You don't think so?
I'm not confident.
I don't know. I don't think they would have said anything if it was that point to where they're worried about it. They would have kept that shit on their reps. It's not like it's Trump tweeting that shit out.
It's true.
Like, hey guys, got a serious arm break. I'm gonna take care of it though.
Stem cells.
And don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it. I'll be there. Because I got intel. I got things. I got doctors.
Well, those are fun. I hope they keep doing those press conferences, man. I know it's got to be logistically, it's got to be tough.
Craziest thing.
It's got to be expensive. I mean, just
super expensive. When you look at
everybody
there,
oh my God, you got to pay for all those flights.
Yeah.
A lot of them probably want to bring trainers with them or whoever else.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably paying for more than one flight. You got per diems. You got transportation, which all those main events.
They're not like fights.
They're not like just just jump in a van. They probably got personal cars for every single person. You know what I mean? So you're talking about some expense, but it's cool.
But it certainly made in terms of what came out of it, they certainly got their money's worth when it came to promoting.
Good point.
They certainly got their money's worth. But you're right, that's not cheap. You figure they gave them all tickets to go to the fights probably.
Yep.
All of them weren't in Dana's area, I guarantee, but yeah, and then to put them up in the hotels because they were there probably the day before.
Right.
Then did the presser. Stayed that night, and then so 3 days of per diem, probably
2
flights
hotel
in.
nights a person. Mm-hmm. Adds up, man. It adds up.
Yeah, it surely does.
All right, UFC 211, fun fight card, man. On paper, everybody was saying it's the biggest card of the year, but man, it really did live up to it. And I tell you what, I want to talk to you first about your boy, your Stipe, Ohio bred and born and repping it till he dies. Stipe Miocic. Man, I got to say, impressive, man. Dude just literally stalked Junior Dos Santos. Walked him down. No fear. It's crazy because Stipe looks like he's there to get hit because he's got his chin high, just wading forward. You know what I mean? But it's like in this run that he's on right now, this air of confidence that he's walking. I mean, it's like he's coming out there just like, F you, I'm getting in your face, and I'm going to knock you out. It's amazing to watch.
His hands, I think he really realized that he's taken punches from pretty much the who's who of the division. He hasn't been through everybody, and he hasn't fought all of them, but he can take a punch, and I think he realized that, and he's got good hands. He's got good boxing skills. I think that gives him a heck of a lot of confidence. And now he's also seeing that he's got a lot of power himself. And when he dropped Verdum stepping backwards, and it wasn't even like a full swing.
Yeah.
But the precision of it dropped him. And then he saw when he was hitting on Junior, and he caught Junior. Granted, that shot that dropped Junior was kind of right in the temple and the side to the back of the head, so it was a good little sweet spot.
Yep.
But I mean, his hands are on point. I mean, he's at a different level right now than when we first saw him.
I agree.
And I think just the fact that everything's firing on cylinders, whatever he's doing in training, and I love the fact that he's still doing the firefighter thing. He's doing all the stuff, so he's got his life in a balance. So I think what's going on right now is just he's having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's enabling him to operate at such a high level. He's not burnt out, by any means. So I think he's enjoying. Like I said, he loves being champ, so he's working extra hard for that. But everything's firing on all cylinders. Whatever they're doing, just keep doing everything that they're doing, because he's coming in looking better and better every single time. He's laying hands on guys. I mean, and it's not like he's just backing up and let the guys. He's controlling the center of the octagon.
Yeah.
He's pushing the pace. He's making them miss, and when they do hit, they're not knocking them out. They're not harming them.
Nope.
And that's the big thing about a lot of the heavyweights. They lay hands on you. They touch you with a good shot. Most of the times you're getting hurt or you're getting dropped. And that hasn't happened the last couple times it's fighting. Granted, there will be a limit.
Yeah, of course.
One day, one of those punches.
And those leg kicks were adding up. He was limping afterwards.
They were certainly.
He was limping afterwards.
I thought that was that was a great strategy from Junior. And, like you said, he could have continued it. But once you start taking shots, game plan goes out the window. Then you start going into whatever and that's Junior's boxing. It's just going forward.
It's
Unfortunately got caught.
When you're in an alpha male trying to protect the cheeseburger, you know what I'm saying?
Don't make me leg kick you, motherfucker.
Let me ask you a question because, all right, so Stipe, we know now he's tied the record, which is insane that the record for UFC heavyweight title defense is 2. It's so stupid. It is interesting, too, because, we had this piece on MMA Junkie, going into this fight, like the list. Who's the greatest UFC heavyweight champion of all time? And, you can literally argue, any of them. I actually argued Brock Lesnar. I mean, it was kind of just having fun with the argument, the piece. But, you could argue all these people because nobody has ever really stood out. Now, if you're arguing greatest heavyweight of all time, then you're talking about Fedor Emelianenko. You're talking about Big Nog, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. You're making those arguments. But, Big Nog's UFC run wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, greatest ever. But nobody's really stood head and shoulders above the pack. So it's crazy to think that, hell, maybe by the end of this year, Stipe could have a pretty strong case that he's the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. But I wonder how marketable he is, because this is what's crazy, right? Good-looking dude, knocks people out, firefighter. I mean, everything.
He's got a great story.
Check it all, right?
Yep.
But is he the worst interview of all time? And it's so weird because you look at the Embedded and stuff like that. The Embedded when he's just cutting up and having fun, he's got personality. And I'm not going to lie. I used to think he just hated doing media, and I'm not sure that he doesn't hate doing media, but I feel like he's gotten more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But I still feel like and I don't mean this as an insult, but it's just I don't know what I get out of him.
What I think it is the guy loves his sports. He loves Cleveland sports, hands down. But when you see him lighten up and always get this smile on his face, he's always talk about other things than MMA.
Right.
Get him talking about firefighting. Get him talking about the Indians. Get him talking about the Cavs, and he lightens up. And we've seen that in other fighters too, where Rothwell was the same way for a while. He hated talking about fighting. He would just get in this mood. But once you started easing in a little bit, throw him a softball about something else, then he'd start joking around a little bit, and then he'd open up. I think it's either the same way with Stipe. I think this is a guy too that he's not a full-time fighter in a sense because he's still doing the other job. I think he just hears the same questions over and over and over that I think he's over it. He's more all right, it's your job now to bring me out of my little shell, do something different. But it sucks because especially when you have what happened in Dallas where you got 14 fighters in one room and you have 40 minutes to get through everybody. It's I'm sorry, I can't spend 5 minutes throwing you all this stuff off to the side. I got to get to what I got to get to, and you would hope that the fighter jumps into that.
That's what I'm wondering, because I feel like we're kind of obligated on a fight week that we need to get just fight-specific questions. We need to get the quote on Junior Dos Santos. We need to get the quote on, potentially being the greatest ever, on the heavyweight.
Right. We can't ask him about his favorite music and what he likes to cook at home.
Should we? Is that the way we should approach him going forward?
I'm thinking I think every fighter, and I think it's a trial by – it's a case-by-case basis. We find what works with one guy and maybe doesn't work with another guy. But I think Stipe is definitely one of those guys, depending on when you catch him, when you got to butter him up. You got to get him to open up on something else, and then eventually he starts coming at. Because you'll see him when he the time that we were interviewing him, he was very short. Danny Austin was asking some questions. It was very, very short. But at the very end, somebody asked something about how I was like, it was something about the Indians or something about whatever it was, but it was something non-MMA related, and boom, it was like a whole different person was up there. And we've seen that with different other guys, and it's unfortunate, but I guess if that makes it tough for us because we have to find out other little things, but maybe that means that we don't get all the fight-specific stuff, but we have to ask those questions. But, on some of those guys, I guess we just got to ask all those other little – whatever, go nowhere things, because we're never going to write a story about how his favorite music is whatever, but if that's what it takes.
What Stipe says about the Cavs, or what Stipe has to say about LeBron, or whatever.
Well, which would be great for USA Today Sports, but it doesn't do anything for MMA Junkie. But it is what it is. But you're right.
Imagine we go through the whole fight week and all we talk about is Cleveland sports.
Cleveland sports, right?
People are like, what?
Well, right now it makes sense because they're doing well in the playoffs, but. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it makes our life tougher at times, but I don't blame him. I think it's, you got some guys. The last thing is some people are just, and I think he's a humble guy. I mean, he will say, I like being the champ, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. But this is the guy that goes out and for his work, he puts his life on the line for other people. So the last thing he probably wants to do is just keep talking about me, me, me. He's like, ask me about something else so I can stop trying to, talk about. Who knows? Maybe he hates talking about himself. I don't talk about myself because I'm such a humble guy. Just don't touch my cheeseburger. But you never know. I think just some guys just would rather talk about anything else but their fight and their fight week. Roy Nelson used to do the same sort of thing.
It's true.
He was like pulling teeth. He would never ever give you a straight answer, but you ask him about something else, and he'd light up.
Yep.
I think it's just another case. And I think we see that more with heavyweights than anything else. Maybe it's because they're just big dudes, they're bigger than life, and they're just like, come on, man. Come on, brah. I'm used to people buttering me up my whole life because they're bigger than most of them. Maybe just make me think of something else, Make me, show you my artistic side.
I like it. We'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. I will say, Junior Dos Santos, man, it was tough. Obviously he was so cool, taking my kid out of the crowd and on open workouts. My kid was
such a good dude.
It was so sad. My son Eli, who turned 5 last week, he asked me afterwards. He's like, "Did Junior win?" And I'm like, "No, buddy. The other guy won." He's like, "That makes me sad. Junior's my buddy."
Yeah, right.
It's like, they're like best friends. You know what I mean? It's so. Man, it's tough. It kind of was like one of those moments reminded me of the emotions and stuff that's in this game. I think sometimes and we're just talking about my son who spent 10 minutes playing with him at an open workout or whatever. But man, this game is so hard. I was actually talking to a cameraman who was filming with Junior Dos Santos' family during the fight. You know what I mean? It's got to be so hard to have a camera trained on somebody who's watching their loved one get knocked out or whatever.
Yeah.
This game, dude, it's like. I've always said it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and that's one thing I love about the sport. But the other thing too is it's the highest of highs and the lowest lows, and there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
There's not only is the peak so amazing and the valley so low, there is no middle ground. It's just either feast or famine, you know. And I don't know, man. It's tough to see, as Junior said going into this fight, 2 nice guys, you know what I mean? And
it really is. They had the utmost respect for each other.
Yeah.
I love seeing stuff like that. As much as it's neat to see guys that have some real sort of I want to just get this dude, it's nice to see guys that can be respectable but still go out there and literally go all in. They weren't pulling any punches by any means, but they had the utmost respect for each other. And I think that's the kind of fight, and those are the kind of people that you want representing the sport. Those are guys that either one of those guys, I would be happy. to take home and meet the family and have no shame and like, oh yeah, this guy's a fighter, but look at him. Talk with him. I mean, like, I guarantee my family, my mother would be in love with Junior.
Hell yeah.
5 minutes after meeting because he's just that nice of a dude.
Even if they were like, I hate cage fighting, it's awful.
Yeah,
it's
they'd be
terrible.
like, wow, I can't hate that guy, because they're just wonderful representatives for the sport. But boy, they came out there and they did it. But yeah, I felt bad. Felt bad for Junior. He's always been so good to us over the years, and he's been a great interview. And when we've been places and he's been a guest fighter, he's been more than happy to jump on camera and say things and help us to get content from all around the world. So I have the utmost respect for him. And as much as being a journalist or a media member, now you're supposed to be unbiased. And you're not supposed to root for people. Doesn't mean you can't like people, and doesn't mean that you can't wish the best for them and want them to succeed. You never want to have any of them lose. But unfortunately for the sport, there is a winner and there is a loser. In this case, you like both guys, and you want them both to do well. But unfortunately, one side loses. But you can't help but to feel a little bad for him, in the slight setback. But a guy like Junior, he's a former champ. He's a champion at life, and he'll be back up there.
So here's what I want to ask you, because I started thinking about this afterward. Now, I mean, the prevailing wisdom, I guess, is the fact that, you got Fabricio Verdum and Alistair Overeem fighting at UFC 213 in July, right? So it seems like that's the number one contender fight. I mean, you go to our rankings, the MMA Junkie rankings, we've got Verdum at number 2, Overeem at number 4. That would seem to be a number one contender fight. Cain Velasquez, he's at number 3 in our rankings, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be ready till the fall, at the earliest. It sounds like maybe October, November.
Cain.
So now,
I feel like we haven't seen him forever.
Oh no, dude, it's so sad. I mean, that's another.
Feels like it's been like
that's
2
a guy
years.
you can make the argument about for Cain, being the greatest ever, but just the injuries.
Yeah.
So here's what I wonder: as bizarre as it sounds, are Derrick Lewis and Francis Ngannou both on the cusp of title shots right now? I mean, we just saw Stipe beat Verdum. We just saw Stipe beat Alistair. Like, are those fights you really feel like you want to see again right away? I mean, I guess if Verdum beats Overeem, I mean, I guess at that point maybe, it'd be like a year and a half, and he is Verdum. I mean, it seems weird because Derrick Lewis, I mean, obviously you're talking about roadshow favorites in Derrick Lewis and Francis Ngannou. I feel like Francis is still a little too raw right now, but he's close, and we all know his physical abilities are insane. And with him living here in Las Vegas, he's only going to get better. Derrick Lewis, who we got to speak to and talk to in Dallas, we've always loved the guy, right? Loved his style, loved his personality. But I know when he came in, I always thought, well, the upside on him is going to be limited, right? But now all of a sudden, I feel like maybe he's in a weird position that if he could go knock out Mark Hunt, which no easy task there, but if he could go into New Zealand in a couple weeks and do something special, I mean, couldn't he have at least a little bit of a case to be like, dude, you've already seen Verdum, you've already seen Overeem.
Yep.
What about me and Stipe?
Yep.
I don't know. Is that just like absolute garbage crazy talk, or like is that maybe a possibility?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think what hurts his case is that random-ass fight, which the gentleman's name, Shamil Abdurakhimov, that I can't say in between.
The fight kind of sucked.
Yeah, I mean, you got Gonzaga, props, but you got Roy Nelson in there. You got Travis Brown. I still feel, a win over Mark Hunt goes a super long way, but I still feel that he probably needs one more after that. I just don't know if
what if he
with
just
that current last
flattens Mark Hunt in the first round.
If he flattens Mark Hunt within like the first couple minutes, then I would say that it's right there probably, and he has a good chance. But I could see what if they want to say, hey, and give him like Verdum, and then maybe that,
I was just if Verdum beats Overeem, because I think if Overeem wins, like you can't do Overeem, like you just had that fight, right? I mean, we literally just saw it.
Just had it.
But Verdum, it was a little bit of ways away, right? I mean, so if Verdum wins, so let's say Verdum wins. Let's say Verdum, just for the sake of argument, Verdum chokes out Overeem in the first round, and Derrick Lewis knocks out Mark Hunt in 90 seconds, which would be incredibly insane. But let's say those two things happen. Who do you go with?
It's tough. Probably Verdum. Just for the fact, I mean, he is right now the current number 1, but his last loss was to Stipe. Before that, a win over Mark Hunt, win over Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown, Big Nog, Roy Nelson. It's hard when you look at that, when just on sheer paper, he's got a better record against who's who than our man Derrick Lewis.
I feel like Cain is the right contender right now, but I just – dude,
how do you feel like he's been gone for almost 2 years. Like, how do you step back in? Granted,
and can you trust he's going to stay healthy, even if you do book the fight?
Right. And that's tough. I mean, I feel that it would be doing almost Cain. Maybe Cain feels that and doesn't want to have a warm-up fight, because he feels his body. Maybe
like, let me just get in there because I don't know how long I'm going to be healthy.
But it's almost unfair to kind of, give him something that at the top, because you want to because Cain did really, really well in the sport, and it's unfortunate that his body's fighting him now, but it just feels like, what is the recent body of work that you've done? And the fact that Cain hasn't fought in next month 2 years, and that was a loss, and that was a bad loss to Verdum. You kind of want him to prove that he's still the number 2, according to their rankings, the number 2 guy. I would say give him a tune-up. And with a win over Hunt, and then to take on Velasquez, if Derrick got that win, hands down, he should get the shot after that. But then you got a guy like Ngannou's ranked higher than Derrick.
That's crazy.
In the UFC.
I know. We got him lower.
Which is, I mean, I don't know how, but I mean,
Ngannou's a beast, but he doesn't have the victories yet, right? I mean, he needs the names.
I don't know how he catapulted over Derrick that had been in the division longer than him. I mean, granted, as he's looking right now, it doesn't look like anybody could stop him.
No.
So you could definitely say that they're kind of fast tracking him, but also in the same sense, don't want to see him and Derrick fight either, because somebody's star is going to drop.
Everybody's been wanting to see that fight. And I'm like, no, not yet, save him.
But nobody else would step up and take that. I mean, Roy would do it just for Roy will fight anybody at that point. But Roy's already done it. So if Ngannou wanted to fight Roy, but then there's like that pecking order of guys that everybody has to kind of get through before they should get that fight. The Travis Browns, the Roy Nelsons, Verdum's up there, Velasquez, but Velasquez has been out in the mix. It just feels weird to have him come back and immediately get a title shot. But out of Derrick and Verdum, with Verdum's who his past wins is and how he's looked lately, I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing that fight again. But if he lost to Stipe again, and if it's in devastating fashion, it's going to knock Verdum down. Then he needs to peck his way back up through the order again.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy to think, but I think Derrick could sneak in there. So we'll be down New Zealand. Both of us will be in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand, for that in a couple weeks. So
that could all get squashed right from the get-go in Auckland. If we see Hunt go in there and do what we know Mark is capable of doing, the
conversation's all for nothing.
Then it's all for nothing.
Then maybe Francis Ngannou starts saying, "I'm ready for this title shot. I don't care. You're not rushing me." It's exciting times. There could be some good stuff. All right, well, listen, we had a chance to talk to the Black Beast. We talked to him last week in Dallas. I saved it for this week. We had so much going on this past week. I figured, hey, what the hell, let's save it for this week. So while we re-up on some frosty beverages and make sure that this drum kit that's getting fired up behind you isn't about to start drowning us out, listen to the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis, previewing his upcoming fight with Mark Hunt.
Derrick, I know when you fought in Croatia, you weren't so happy about flying all that far. Now they got you going to New Zealand. How did that get done?
I think I need to keep my mouth quiet. So I think they heard me whenever I said that. And now they're going to send me to the farthest place it is. I didn't know anything about New Zealand at first. So they say New Zealand, okay, something new. Okay. And so, come to find out, yesterday, it's going to be winter time. I thought it was going to be like hot and everything. Now I got to pack an extra bra, keep myself warm. It's going to be, I don't think I'm going to like it too much.
It's a lot nicer than Old Zealand, I heard, so.
I don't know.
Talk about the matchup with Mark Hunt. I think a lot of people, when they announced it, were really excited. Stylistically, you guys, seems like it should be a lot of fun. Were you excited stylistically for the fight?
Yeah, for sure. This is one of the fights that I wanted. Because I just knew Mark going to come out and bang. You know, he's not gonna try to hold me, not gonna try to run from me or anything like that. He's just gonna come forward, and coming forward like he does is just gonna make it an entertaining fight.
It's interesting though because obviously he's a legend, but he doesn't have the best record. You know, so do you feel like it does move you forward in the title picture? Or does that even matter to you because knowing it'll be the style of fight you want to have?
It really don't matter. You know, his losses all came against guys that was top ranked. So it isn't like he's been fighting bums his whole career trying to pad his record up. So I believe he's still got it. He's 43 years old now. I believe he still has it. And I believe it's also the best opportunity for myself to get up in there with him.
Is he a guy that when you were younger you watched him and enjoyed watching his game?
Not at all. You know, I guess once he became a UFC fighter, that's whenever I knew who Mark was. Besides that, I didn't know who he was.
Derrick, this is pretty exciting. I mean, to get your own open workout like this.
Who let this guy in? Thought he was banned.
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're getting a huge push here from the UFC. Are you feeling the love?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Why not?
The per diem wasn't as much as I thought, but
How much was it?
No, it's okay. I ain't gonna say that. It's okay.
So you are feeling the love?
It's okay, yeah. You know, not like everyone else is getting pushed, you know.
Yeah.
Like the guy from France, you know. They did a whole world tour with him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm right down the street, so they really want me to drive down here with my own gas money, but we're not gonna talk about that. It ain't no big deal.
We were at his open workout, Francis Ngannou. He talked about you that he wasn't impressed.
That's fine. That's of course. That's what everybody said. I'm heavyweight. That's fine. Just get up in there with me. You know, he's one of the guys that want to fight next. After if everything goes good with Mark Hunt, you know, him, JDS, Kane, or even one of the guys for the belt.
Do you feel like that's the fight? That's the heavyweight fight that everyone's talking about? I feel like every time someone talks about the heavyweight division, like at some point I want to see Ngannou Lewis. Do you get that same kind of feedback?
Yeah, that's fine. You know, I'll fight him. You know.
By the way, what was the Houston guy doing at Dallas Cowboys headquarters today? It seemed a little weird, no?
Yeah, it was real weird. You know, I got allergic reaction on my neck, got a rash, but it's fine though.
Did they mind that you stood on the star? Isn't that like sacrilegious?
Yeah, a bunch of security was looking at me all weird, but that was fine too.
No one told you not to do it?
No.
Derrick, what do you think you stack out in the division with so many entertaining fights on the table for you in the future?
Say what?
What do you think you stack up at in the division?
Stack up right along with everyone else, you know. I have a punching chance just like everyone else does. You know, I'm just excited and I'm happy that I'm on this roll, this 6-fight win streak right now. And I just want to fight just all the entertaining fighters, you know. Nobody that want to run and make a fight boring, you know. I just want to entertain the fight.
So do you care who you fight? Like, do you care for a belt, or you just fighting just for the police fans and make a little money?
Yeah, that's all I'm fighting for. I don't care about the belt. You know, the reason why I do want to fight for the belt is that's the guy that's making all the money right now. So if I never fight for the belt or I never get it, I don't care.
Is it the fact that you beat all these people and people still kind of, they don't take you serious? Like, oh, he's top 10, but he's not top 5.
Well, I don't care. You know, I'm not doing it for the top 10. I'm not trying to be the best fighter in the world. You know, I'm not trying to be the prettiest fighting style out there or nothing like that. I'm just doing it for the money and just take care of my family. That's about it.
Is there anything in New Zealand, Derrick, that you want to do besides fight?
Bro, boomerang. I'm seeing what they got that boomerang out there.
I just Googled it. They have Dos Equis.
Who?
They have a beer in New Zealand.
What is it called?
Dos Equis.
Who?
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis, way. Dos Equis.
They have it there.
That's good. We're going to have a good time there.
When you talk about the champions get the money, you are on a one-split streak in the division. Do you feel like if things go well against Mark, you should be that guy fighting the winner of this weekend's fight?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, if not, I don't care. Just give me somebody in the top 5. I'll be happy with that.
How do you see that fight on Saturday?
I believe he's going to go to decision because, I don't know. I believe he's just going to go to decision. You know, I the reason why it's going to go to the decision. But I just don't want to give it out there because I won't fight one of those guys next.
Good strategy.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins though?
I'm pick Stipe, even though I don't know who's going to win. Because the only reason why I'm picking Stipe is because JDS, he picked Mark Hunt to win over me, so that's the only reason why. And I won't fight JDS next.
You said you would.
No, I hope he lose.
So you said you want to fight him?
I want to fight him, yeah. I don't care if he's coming off a loss. Just like Mark Hunt coming off a loss. I don't care, I'll fight him. I'm not worried about fighting for the belt. If they pay me good money, then yeah. Fight for the belt, but other than that, I don't care.
You said you would fight Ngannou. Are you impressed with him? I mean, he's got a lot of hype behind him. Are you impressed by what you've seen?
Yeah, I'm impressed. Even though he hasn't fought any top guys, he fought that old guy, Andre. That's about it. But other than that, he hasn't fought anyone. But still, though, he has a punch of change just as much as I do.
Does it bother you that you guys are always kind of linked together? Whether it's media or fans, we're always talking about the two of you?
Not at all. I live in America. America like that black on black violence, so I drive on it. That's fun.
You talk about money. If you beat Mark, you're going to be in an amazing position with incredible momentum. Like, are you at a place where you're close to that contract running out and you can negotiate for a really good one?
Nah, just by me fighting Mark, they renegotiated my contract pretty good right now. So
for this one?
Yes. So,
did you ask for that, or was that something they approached?
It's something I asked for, and they gave me what I wanted.
You think more people should be honest and just say they fight for the money? I mean, we hear people all the time saying it's about glory, it's about their place in history. But I imagine if they were asked to do it for free, they probably wouldn't do it.
There's some guys out there like that, but I think majority of them are just fighting for the money. So I don't know.
You say the black on black violence thing with a bit of a smile, but I mean, are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Yeah?
Yeah. Where you from?
From Canada.
Oh, okay. Canada. You don't know nothing about that, man. We right there. You don't even know about it.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. That was Derrick Lewis. We are looking forward to that fight in Auckland. Some fun fights, man. It's about to get crazy. Listen, if you like what you're hearing, I should say, do us a favor. Log into iTunes, all right? Rate us, review us. Take a second, man. Just give us 5 stars if you don't mind. Leave some comments, some feedback, positive, negative. It's all good. We'll read it all.
If you don't like it, lie.
Yeah. Yeah, is that too much to ask? It makes us feel good.
Don't make his son sad.
Yeah. Be nice.
He reads the reviews. He's like, Daddy, did this guy not like you? And then he gets sad. So don't do that. Don't do that to Eli.
Don't do that. Be good. I should say I logged into the Sweden store. We have no reviews in Sweden. So if you want to be the first Swedish person to review us in iTunes, you could be number 1 and only.
That's
something to think about.
Would just review and just be like, first. Like people always do.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be great.
I'm like,
Since we're going to Stockholm, I figured I'd see if you have any.
How do you log in?
There's a little flag, and you can switch to all the different stores. So I figured I'd just log in and see if anybody has ever reviewed us in Sweden.
You're like an international spy.
Yeah, dude. No, not at all. All right, listen, a lot of things to talk about UFC 211, but one thing I did want to talk about, it's been a hot topic, the Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin Poirier fight, which looked fantastic on paper. Played out to be fantastic. I mean, everything was going swimmingly, getting just what we wanted. And then we get this bizarre no contest. And Kokov, first of all, since we haven't really addressed it directly, I don't want to rehash the whole fight, but a fun fight. But to me, I am sorry, and I know that Herb Dean has come out and done some interviews and stood behind his decision and all that, and God bless him. Herb is an amazing referee, and I love talking to the guy, and I respect his job. But I'm sorry, man. I just feel like he got this wrong. To me, and again, no offense to Eddie Alvarez either, man. He's not a dirty fighter, but to me, this was DQ all day long. I don't understand how you go no contest.
Yep. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It should have been a DQ. The no contest was a gimme, was a present. It should have been. I think it just, I think a lot of people were upset about it. I know I was just really, really surprised. But you're right. I mean, just because he's a really, really nice guy and you want good things for him doesn't mean that you shouldn't agree with what we saw there. And what we saw were illegal knees.
Clearly illegal knees.
And it should have been a DQ.
And the first one, and again, and here's where I ultimately want to go with it. First of all, it's effing stupid that we have different rules everywhere we go. It's so stupid, and we've been saying it all along, but it continues to play out. It's so ridiculous that every commission has different scoring criteria, different rules. It's just asinine, and it needs to change. The athletic commissions are meeting again this summer, and this shit needs to be fixed. It's annoying the fact that unified rules aren't unified. There's no excuse for it, and I'm tired of seeing it play out. And I will say this too. God bless Mark Ratner as well. Nicest guy in the world and a legend in the sport. There is no way Herb Dean needs to be going to talk to Mark Ratner in a state that has a commission in place.
Yeah.
The commission needs to be involved, not the promoter.
I don't know. Maybe were they there?
They had to be there.
No, I mean, were they there with Ratner
like
when that conversation was
happening? I don't know. I couldn't see that.
Because it wasn't just the two of them. There were other people there, and I'm assuming the person that was slightly off camera left when you're watching Herb talk to Mark was the commissioner.
That makes sense. I need to go back and review the tape. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to review it. I meant to go back and review the tape, to be honest with you. Thank you for another round of beautiful frosty beverages here. Ed Boomers on a wild-ass Wednesday.
Wild-ass Wednesday. Wild-out Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, so
I assume that was the commission because it would be wholly inappropriate for him to only go to Mark Ratner
it would be.
and not go to the commission and then go back in there and make a ruling. I think he's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, again, I've said before, I think half the rules that we see in the Nevada that pretty much is like the flagpole for what other commissions do. Ratner was behind or was around when those were all shaping out. So I can see why they wanted to go, but just the way it seemed that Herb was kind of testing his answer, testing the waters,
right,
with what he was going to say. So I'm going to say it's this. And always looking at Mark, and Mark's kind of like giving the nod, like, okay, I think that'll fly. I think that'll fly. But at no point did he sort of ever say, hey, did I fuck up? Did I whatever? How did I do whatever?
It's a split-second decision.
It happens,
It's okay.
And again, that's another reason people were making the calls for instant replay.
We gotta have instant replay in every state. We gotta have instant replay in every state.
I mean, we see that in the NFL. We see it in everything. Refs fuck up. Stuff happens. But you need to have the forethought and the time to go back and look at it and say, oh, okay, this is the part I messed up. I didn't clearly see this. My bad. Let me right that wrong. And they didn't do that in this instance.
To me, like the whole thing, because the rule reads intent. What was the intent? Well, I don't think you can intend to cheat. I just don't buy that. You know what I mean? Like, you intended to hit him with a knee, right? I mean, you intended to hit him with a knee. He happened to be in a down position. Maybe you didn't notice it, but I doubt it ever came through Eddie Alvarez's head that, ooh, I bet he's in a down position and I can cheat right now. So that's the whole thing about the intent rule.
Like, when I think of the accidental, I'm thinking he was trying to knee the shoulder. It brushes the shoulder and then hits the head.
That's accidental.
That's accidental. When it's a clean shot to the head 2 times in a row, he was intending to have his knee hit his head.
Thank you.
There was nothing accidental about that.
So it's not as stupid as it sounds. Because in my head, I'm like, it seems so logical and clear. Why do people not see it that way?
There was no accident. Accident is he's aiming for, like when we saw when was it? When Spider, I think, kneed Chael in the chest, or maybe it was a different fight. It looked like, oh my goodness, he hit him in his face.
Yep.
He didn't, but it came close. When you have times when you're hitting a different part and it accidentally hits something, that's an accident. That was not intention. His intention was to hit a different part of his body.
Exactly.
But here there was no other place that he was intending that strike to go but to the head. And the fact that, if he's like, granted, in certain positions you can't see where the hand down. I don't see how he could not have noticed that his hand was down. And then when he dropped down literally onto a knee and still did it, it's clearly it was.
Gotta have instant replay and gotta get everybody on the same page. I was at the commission meeting last year. I think Steven Morocco might actually be attending the one this year. It's in the summertime. It's going to be out. at Mohegan Sun. I think Steve Morocco might be the one heading out there. But
is there anything happening this week? Because there's a commission meeting this week as well.
Nevada Commission. I mean the Association of Boxing Commissions meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at that last year, and I got to say, man, just for people that haven't been there, and it's hard because covering it isn't exactly exciting. You know what I mean? And
Not at all.
It's hard to produce like a video that would encapsulate it and people would understand it. But the bottom line is, it's a bunch of egos at play, man. It's people, trying to say why they're right, why their version, and just stop it. Stop the personal agendas, and let's make this sport right. We got these fighters' safety is more important than anything else, and getting this sport governed properly is the right way. And there's simple steps that can be made. And number one, everybody having the same damn rules is part of it.
Yeah.
And number two, let's get instant replay everywhere because mistakes happen. And yeah, all right.
Some dudes crooning up here, playing like the fucking crooner
right?
music over
I'm
here.
seeing
I'm
some,
like,
I didn't want to. There was some dancing going on
I
over
know,
in the corner.
man. I'm like, it's some, I don't know, reliving some heyday or something. I'm just like, man, cranking that stuff out.
It's not usually what we get here at Boomers. Is
Not
the,
so much. Yeah, I guess he's trying to leave. Now he's trying to ask the bar to leave so he can try to dance some more with the owner, bartender. I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but
God bless.
God bless Boomers. God bless Vegas.
God bless Vegas. You can do that while there's still daylight outside on a Wednesday. All right. Listen, this weekend, should say there's a lot of UFC fighters heading this way. The athlete retreat is this weekend. We're going to be shooting some of it. We don't know exactly what we're going to be able to shoot yet. Hopefully we'll be able to figure that out tomorrow. But we're gonna bring you whatever we can bring you, audio wise, video wise. But I was told it's like 350 of the fighters on the roster are going to be here this weekend for the athlete retreat. So
crazy.
Kind of interested to see how that all plays
Talk
out.
about a cost right there,
dude. I should say I did see a couple stories today where people were saying like, in reaction to recent complaints, the UFC is no. This thing's been planned for months.
Yeah.
This thing has been planned for months.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I know they've tried different things. They do different things. They had the Veteran Summit that was a limited invite, of different guys. And then you have like the Fighter Summit that used to be like when new fighters and guys that hadn't maybe touched base for a while, they'd bring them in, they'd talk about business stuff. But from what you're saying, this is more of a just touch base. The organization's still good, hey, we just want to bring everybody together. There's new people at the head of the table, let's bring everybody in.
Sounds like it's more of a powwow.
Powwow.
Than an educational seminar like it's been in the past. Like, hey, come check out the new facility.
Yeah.
Because, dude, that place is impressive,
Yeah.
man. That place is impressive. So, I mean, I think if you're a UFC fighter worried about the future of the company, you come in and you see that, you go, oh, okay, we're doing all right here. We're doing all right here.
The Performance Institute.
It's almost done. So
it's not even ready for this big walkthrough.
Mostly done.
So they have the octagon. They probably don't have the octagon.
I think the octagon is almost done. I bet it'll be done by this weekend.
Hope so, because it looks pretty unimpressive for the fighters.
I think it'll be done.
They're like, trust us. There's going to be a boxing ring over in that corner, and then there's going to be an octagon in this open space on the carpet here.
Well, we're going to shoot whatever we can from that. So just to give everybody kind of a heads up, MMA Junkie, and of course the MMA Roadshow will certainly have whatever we can from that.
We'll just raid the kitchen. We'll just do a show straight from the cafeteria, which is super impressive.
It's awesome. Just don't grab your cheeseburger.
Don't grab my cheeseburger. Alpha male going to jump out.
It is a pretty impressive cafeteria. I know that it's just jokes waiting to be made for us talking about the cafeteria, but it's impressive. It's impressive. It is. A lot of MMA this weekend, even though there's no UFC. Bellator 179 is this weekend. Paul Daly versus Roy McDonald. Roy making his Bellator debut against hard-hitting Paul Daly.
That's a long time coming.
Dude, long time coming, man. MVP was supposed to be on this card. He's not going to be on the card. Kevin Ferguson Jr. is on the card. That, of course, Baby Slice is on the card. Should say, if you haven't seen it already, check it out. Shamakar Sandhu, Abby Subban, and Simon Head, all putting in coverage for MMA Junkie over there in London.
So right
the crew, the European crew, is on point. They've already been turning in some content. There'll be more coming.
Then?
I like that.
No, good bunch of dudes, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And good job, Bellator, man. They're getting out and around, man. They're not dicking around, man. They're like, hey, we're gonna keep hitting new countries and doing their thing, man. Good for them.
Joanna Jacek at UFC 211 also picked up a win over Jessica Andrade. Joanna Jacek just looked phenomenal, dude. She's so good.
I mean, she looked all right.
She's so good, man. It's and you know what? Props to Jessica Andrade because she moved forward just like she said she would the whole time, man. I got nothing bad to say about Jessica Andrade. Joanna Jacek's just a cut above everybody right now. And, man, good things going on for her. She's talking about possibly going to 125, at some point later this year, trying to win that title when it gets introduced as well. So big things on the horizon for Joanna Jacek. Just, dude, I think she's so good on camera and in front of a microphone. And now that she's going to be living in the States, she's going to be getting more media opportunities. I think she's about to blow up, man. Her style is fun to watch, and she's great, when she's not in the cage as well. So I think she's about to blow up. But her next fight is up for grabs right now, and another person we got to talk to was Rose Namajunas, who was in town as a guest fighter in Dallas as well. And I got to say, if that's the next fight for Joanna, I'm not hating on that.
No.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
why not?
She made the case to us that, listen, there's nobody else right now. I know I'm a little bit further down the rankings, kind of like we're talking about maybe Derrick Lewis could slip up a little bit, Claudia Gadelha, she's had her chance. Carolina Kowalkiewicz, she's had her chance. Jessica Andrade had her chance. Maybe Rose is right there. You know what I mean? Maybe she's right there, and I'm not hating on it. And I tell you what, I'm not saying I'd pick her because I'm not sure I'd pick anybody against Joanna right now. Right. But I like the questions that she'd have to answer. Rose has got that long, lanky frame. She's not scared. She's going to go in there and mix it up with you. I don't think she could necessarily outstrike her, but I think, some transitions, doing, some kind of little, a submission attempt that comes from a scramble, that she goes in there and creates.
Yep.
I think she could put Joanna in a bad spot, man. So it's crazy because Rose Namajunas with that 6-3 record, you know what I mean? Just not a whole bunch of experience, but I think she's right there in the mix, and I'd be okay with that fight.
And she's such an exciting fighter to watch. People just are endeared by her. She's just fun to watch. She's fun all throughout the week. She's so focused. She always comes and fights. She brings it. She's not going to go out there and just try to point somebody and try to just get the win. She's going to be trying to do some flying triangle, arm bar, spinning, whatever. And, and it's funny even when we watch the little open workout between her and Pat Barry, she's embracing the crowd a lot more. She's embracing being in the main spotlight, so she's bringing the whole package. But you're right. I mean, there's not many people that Joanna hasn't beaten at this point. So at some point, you got to start going down the line. We saw this with DJ.
Absolutely.
Where they started going
That's what it reminds me
They
of.
started going really
exactly
deep into the roster to start bringing people. And I have no problem watching Rose. I think that would be an exciting fight. Anybody, though, regardless, Rose, who is super, super dangerous, and she's very, very strong. She's very, very, her size doesn't give a good representation of how stupid strong she is. But, you got to be able to grab. For her to have a chance to beat Joanna, she's got to get a hold of her. And we saw just Jessica couldn't get in there, couldn't get a hold. Granted, Jessica was kind of trying to swing, was coming forward, when she did try to grab a hold and did slam her down or pick her up. She couldn't keep her down.
Crazy how fast she got back up.
It's amazing how strong that Joanna has gotten when it comes to her wrestling defense, takedown defense. And I just don't see anybody beating her right now.
I don't either.
I think Rose is definitely a worthy opponent that should. I have no problem if Rose got the call.
Oh.
I would rather see that than Claudia run back right now.
I agree. I think Joanna might have some trouble at 125. I think she might have some trouble at 125 because I think she's going to be facing some of the 135ers coming down.
Sure.
And I think like if she can do this at 125, like dude, I hope people give her the respect.
But I think the only trouble she would have is maybe because even we saw in this, like Jessica is like ridiculously strong for that size. Joanna was taking damage and she was swelling really big. Like
she got that hematoma like right in the first round.
Huge. And we and Claudia banged her up as well. I just think her cardio, she has cardio for years. She could literally probably go 25 rounds. And I think that's the point where she's probably still going to have a speed advantage over the 125. Is the only thing that's going to be is that she's going to probably take some more damage from stronger opponents that she's not getting at 115. I still think she would do really, really well. And just what her current level, I think she would probably do pretty darn good at 125. But you're right. Having the 135s come down, and even those that probably would love to see that should go to the 145 division, but they're happy that there's a 135 because they don't want to fight people like Cyborg and things of that sort. You're going to have all these big 140s, 145ers that can crunch down to 125 going in that division, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I have all the faith that she has
can't
the
walk
skill to
around
do it.
that much higher than 125. She's not that big.
She's not that big, but I don't know. There's been some pictures where we see her. This was a rougher cut for her. I'm still not quite sure if she really was exactly on.
I did want to ask her about I did want to ask her about her weigh-ins.
It was tough. So maybe she is a little bit heavier than we normally. Maybe she weighs around. Maybe she walks around at 130. Maybe. I don't know if it's 135, but I wouldn't be surprised if she drops 20 pounds for a camp to come down to 115. So maybe she walks around that rate, but most people that are fighting at 135 probably walk around at 155.
I need to make sure and ask her about her cut next. I wanted to ask her about that at the press conference, but obviously she got emotional and had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she'd been talking about how great her nutrition was. And anyway, I definitely want to ask about that. All right, listen, so we also got to speak with Rose while she was in Dallas, and I figured, you know what? We saved it for this week, a non-USC week. We won't have one of those for a while. So I figured, hey, listen to Rose Namajunas and see what she had to say, because I'll tell you what, nobody's guaranteed that that's the next fight, but it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm down for it.
So, Rose, do you feel you should get the winner of Saturday night's fight?
I mean, I guess who else is there, really? You got Claudia and Carolina, but they already fought the champ once before, and Claudia twice, so I don't know. It just seems fitting.
Do you think it's the right time in your career to get that rematch since you had the first shot?
Yeah, I think so. Everything's going right in my life, and that's the main thing that's important. So if, timing's important as well. So I think right now I'm happy in my life.
How's your mental game improve?
A lot. I've been through a lot and had a lot of life learning experiences, and I matured a lot. So yeah.
You think it'd mean more to get the belt this stage in your career versus had you got it starting out the bat?
For sure. I mean, when you think about my age, my experience level, and just fighting itself, those things combined, I wasn't supposed to really be to the level at which I was at that age. Not like based on history and other fighters. So, like if I would have won against Carla, I would have been the youngest champ in the UFC ever, beating John Jones, and he's young. So I think that, right now it means a lot to me, to be experienced and be experienced not just as a fighter but as a woman.
Do you have any ventures to move up to 125 if that opens up like they say it is?
Of course, I've never been one for putting myself in a box and only being like I can only fight 115. But at the same time, also has to stay present in the present moment, and thinking about 125 right this second is kind of, that would be egotistical of me, I think, to think that I don't have unfinished business at 115.
Is it ever difficult for you to make 115?
No, but I will say this past fight was the most weight I've ever cut. I was walking around at 130 versus usually during fight week I'm already 120, and then by the time I usually just sit in the hot shower and don't eat for the weigh-in day and I'm good. But this time I actually had to cut a little bit of weight.
Was that by design or?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's also a combination of just me getting older and stuff and maturing a little bit more in my body, but at the same time also our training was super spot on, and I was eating more and just taking care of myself more.
Have you been told, Rose, that you are getting the next shot? Have you been outright told?
No, not clearly, no.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah.
How do you see that fight playing out?
I see Joanna probably winning. I think he's explaining what we're doing to help the workout. But how do I see that fight playing out? I see Joanna winning, I think. I think that unless if Jessica kind of gets her, like she has to finish her, I feel. Or that's her best chance, is clipping her with some punch. And maybe getting her, because Jessica's ground game is great. and she's just really tough. But Joanna, I think, is just the better technical and overall complete fighter than Jessica Andre. I feel like she's more of a brawler, which is great too. But I think Joanna wins.
So if Joanna does win and you do win, what's your path to victory against her?
Just being me, just being in the present moment, training, keep doing what I'm doing, and just being me. Yeah.
It's interesting because you talk about your mental games developing, not really much about skill set. You feel like that's at championship level. It's feel like your mental games at the championship level. Is that what you feel like has been holding you back?
Wait, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, you're talking about being ready for a title fight, being ready for the championship level.
Yeah.
You talk more about the mental game than saying, well, now my physical tools have developed. So do you feel like that was the block?
Yeah, I think the mental is all where it all starts. It's the seed, it's the roots of the plant, Without your mental, you can't do anything. And no matter how skilled or physically talented you are. So yeah, I feel like right now I'm in a great place. And I still, even with my zombie self, sometimes I'm a dangerous motherfucker, I tell you that. But when I'm mentally right, there's nobody that can beat me.
Do you know what helped you turn the corner, or when you turned the corner, like when you felt like I'm dialed in now?
What told me that I was
was there like an adjustment you had to make?
I mean, there's always doubts. There's always, am I doing everything right? I'm always questioning myself. I'm always checking myself, probably more than anybody else. But there's also signs that let you know that you're doing things right. Not just the fight, but just things going right in your life, or just your attitude towards things.
Rose, about 2 fights ago, you didn't have Pat in your corner. The last one you did. What made the difference to have him in your corner versus not having him in your corner?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not something that I would have gone back and changed. That needed to happen with us, and it's definitely helped us grow as a couple, and we're better than ever. And I don't know. It's definitely a learning process, and just anybody in a relationship knows that it's not easy. And then on top of that, working with each other is not easy as well. And then also in the fight game, it's a very emotional sport, and it's not just your average 9 to 5.
So without going too far into that, was that a professional decision, not more than a personal decision, for him not to be there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it a coaching type decision?
That was my own decision, it's my own decision.
Now you landed a really hard kick on Pat in there. Did he do something wrong earlier today?
No, he just. I just had a lot of fun. He just got a punchable face. What can I say? We mess with each other like that. But did you see me? Did you see him push me into the bag and stuff? He's not nice to me either.
How did you guys come up with that? That was pretty entertaining.
We saw this one video that was doing this guy was doing a seminar of just these silly moves, that I don't know anything about it, but just it would not work in a real fight.
There seemed to be a lot more intensity in your striking out there. Is that something that you've really worked on to try to polish?
Yeah, I think intensity is key. That's what separates just the regular person, the average Joe, to a professional athlete. That any athlete on the highest level, we're in the highest level of fighting, and you have to be intense. And so that goes with striking, grappling. All of my stuff is intense. I'm always, got a lot of energy.
Rose, how much did the loss of Carolina help you get to this level? I can look at Macklin, it's like, of course you don't want to lose, but you think you have to go through that to get to where you want to go?
Absolutely. You always get better from your losses, or at least you have to in order to keep going. And I think it needed to happen. Obviously I'm sitting here today, and everything's great.
What's the feeling like right now? Also getting this attention. This much attention out here, this much attention right here, and it's not a fight week for you.
It is weird.
Right
It kind of does, yeah. But at the same time, I'm still just chilling. I just got 2 new kittens at home, and I don't know. I got a lot of stuff going on elsewhere that after the fight that I wanted to take care of, and attend to my new house that I bought, and there's a lot of things else otherwise going on. So, but I'm always fighting. I'm always ready to fight. Even if I'm not training. That's my first workout, I think, other than maybe 2 or 3, silly workouts at home that I've done since the fight. So I'm still breathing heavy.
How's Misha taking to the new company?
Oh, she likes it. Yeah, She's great with cats. I think she thinks like she wants to be a cat herself, so she gets jealous of them sometimes, being able to like climb to the top of a tree. But she still tries to climb trees too. So, yeah.
Do this Rose as kind of like a vote of confidence in the UFC? Like they're trying to do these workouts on a fight week for, it seems like, fighters that they're pinpointing as future stars. Like they did it with Michelle, they did it with Francis Ngannou. Is this? I know you haven't been told that you're next, but kind of does this feel like okay, they're getting behind me here by doing this for me?
I think so. I think I'm a really exciting fighter. I wouldn't. I'm great in the spotlight. Yeah.
Okay. And just curious, there are a lot of women who are now considering being tough, like you were a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
If someone asked you, should I do it, or should I just wait it out like a Joanna, and now she's the champion and everything worked out?
I want to get that 115 belt.
If someone asked you as a 125er, should I do the tough experience? Did you enjoy it, or should I just try?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I think so. Especially if you're at a part of your career, I feel like it's getting your like bachelor's degree, before you go to the next level. So that's a great time to experiment and be used to that level of competition. Yet you can experiment. That's why I felt so free on the Ultimate Fighter, because it didn't count on my record, So, and that's actually why I probably had the greatest performance, because it's just like you don't have that pressure. Like everything's against you. You're not with your team. You're not with your family. So it's one of those things where all you got to do is just try hard.
Are you on standby in case Jessica doesn't hit the weight or has any problem for Saturday night?
Do I think she'll have trouble cutting weight?
No, I'm not asking if you're thinking that she's going to have trouble, but in case anything happens, are you ready?
Oh, am I ready? I'm always ready, I think that, I think that'd be great. I think that's better to take a fight on a short notice, because you don't overthink things, and you don't, get inside your own head.
He's asking like, if Jessica doesn't make weight on Friday, are you the standby fighter for her?
Oh, I don't know that. I mean, I'm gonna have I got my mouth guard with me, so I'll put it in my pocket.
Welcome back to the MMA Rose Show. That Rose was not
every rose.
Welcome back to the MMA Rose. That was Rose Namajunas. All right. So listen, a couple more just to kind of wrap up UFC 211. Demian Maia picking up the win over Mr. George or Jorge Masvidal, depending on how you like. Split decision, tough fight. Not Damian's most exciting fight, but still, it's just hard to deny what he does and how effective he is. His jiu-jitsu is just incredible, man. It really
double
is.
Jiu-jitsu is even better.
Double jiu-jitsu was awesome. Masvidal, I thought, man, he handled himself well. I mean,
he did
great
such
defense
a good
as well.
Job, man.
He did, man. I don't think his stock goes down at all.
You can't.
But
not after that.
Here's what I'm really interested about. So, Maia says, "Hey, I deserve the title shot, right?" Danny goes, "Yeah, of course you do, yeah." And then Maia comes to the post fight, and we're like, "So, when do you want to fight again?" He's like, "Well, I got this seminar, that seminar, that." I'm like, so we talked a lot, and we talked at length going in about how we were surprised that Demian wasn't really like seizing the moment, like "F you, this is my fight." Granted, he's not a trash talker, but I don't know, man. Like, we were in that post fight press conference. For him to be like, "Well, I'm not really in a rush to get back right now. I've got these other things going on." It kind of scared me a little bit, man, because especially with this whole GSP thing kind of falling apart. I don't know. Did it? I guess I'm just asking you. Did it take you by surprise or shock you that he was just like, "Yeah, I know I'm the number one contender, but I've got these seminars I need to do"?
No, but I think this is also a guy that he's been let down before, so
Fair.
I think if anything, he's keeping it realistic. Even this whole week, or the lead up, remember, nobody could reach him. He was just focused on his fight. He wasn't. I think he's just tired of setting himself up for failure. So I think if anything else too, he's just being real about it. But also maybe too, he still just hadn't had a moment. Adrenaline probably came down from them, and then probably wondering, is this even real? Is this really happening? I bet if we got him on the phone now, or if we talk with him, he'd probably a little bit different than what we heard
That's a good
that
point.
particular night. But you're right. I mean, you figure, for somebody, it's like, all right, yeah, the president just said you're going to get the shot. You're the next guy. You think you'd be like, heck yeah, man, I'm ready to go
I'll
right now.
do it next week.
I'll go right now.
Yeah.
But he's never really done
Put me
that.
on the Stockholm card.
He's just never really done that. And I think also, too, maybe he's just tired of getting let down, that he's just like, let me enjoy this right now. I'm going to go home, stop thinking about fighting, because all he was thinking about at that point was getting this fight. That was a super tough fight ahead of him. He knows that Tyron's going to be a huge fight for him as well. I think he just wants to get back to a little normalcy for a moment, and then focus on the fight.
I respect
that.
that.
I love his. This is a humble dude, as well. I mean, he's also a guy that I guarantee, if he gets the belt and he gets his championship title, he's not going to stop doing seminars. He's not going to stop going out and doing these things that he loves. And I think this is as important to him as a lot of the fighting. So good for him that he wants to just like, hey, he just had a big fight, and I'm going to just go and do my seminars for a second. Then we'll let this make sure it's even happening.
Yep.
Then let's see the contracts, and then I guarantee he's gonna get hyped up, and then he will say it.
I mean, I respect the fact that he's basically setting up his post-fight career. Like you said, he's got his he's teaching seminars. He's got his affiliate seminars that he's got for his schools, and I mean that's awesome. But I don't know, it was just weird. It was like, I know I'm the number one contender, but like I'm not in a rush to fight. It was just like, bro, don't let GSP come in there and take your title shot away.
Yeah.
Odd.
That would suck. I mean, I want to see. I want to see. Yeah.
I want to see.
I want to see GSP back, but man, I hate.
And I'm more okay with GSP fighting for the welterweight title than I am at middleweight.
Well, yeah. I mean that makes more sense.
Although
You're
I gotta love Michael. Did you see Michael Bisping today?
No.
He's coming out. He's like, I know they're saying the UL fight, but my knees kind of hurt. And to be honest with you, it's better off if I wait.
No, Michael.
It's better off if I wait, and I'd still like that GSP fight.
What's all this then, Michael?
I can't blame him.
What's this rubbish?
I can't blame him.
I can't either.
I don't have a chance of beating either one of them, but I'd face GSP before I fight UL Romero.
Boy, they're going to watch it.
I mean, if it was like a street fight and there was like a gun to your head and you're like, listen, I'm sorry that you've been kidnapped by the mob, but this is your life. You now have to choose one of these two guys to fight, or we're going to pull the gun right now and just pull the trigger and put you out of your misery.
I start thinking like, can I get the gun away?
Give me GSP
can I somehow
all
get the gun
day.
away because I don't want to take the other options.
GSP all day. I ain't taking you well. All right, dude, Frankie Edgar.
That's a tough one. They better watch it, or fucking Whitaker is going to come in there and just scoop it out.
Just sneak in too.
You know what? Shoot, after what he did to Jacare,
I had a conversation with
ain't nobody want to fight Whitaker right now.
I had a conversation with a UFC employee yesterday, actually, and this is not a matchmaker or even a PR person, so it's not like they're really kind of like trying to hype anything.
Cafeteria worker?
Hey, don't you mess with my cafeteria sources. You want to know what the special is for tomorrow? No, no, and he was saying, he was like, listen, you know who I think the worst matchup is right now for Michael Bisping in the middleweight division? And I'm like, who? Robert Whitaker. And I'm like, It's crazy because there was a time when I think we thought Whitaker was the best matchup for Michael Bisping because he's a kickboxer, right? You know what I mean? Like he's basically that guy.
Yeah.
But you know,
this is when we were saying like, he doesn't want to fight Jacare. Bisping doesn't want to fight Jacare, and this is the dude that just I won't say demolished, but he literally dismantled. He dismantled Jacare.
And that was the kind of the point was just that yes, you're right. This is like it seems like stylistically it's the best matchup for Michael Bisping because he's not the wrestler, he's not the grappler.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this is like Michael Bisping 2.0. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, and I don't mean that. That shouldn't be an insult to call somebody a 2.0 the champion.
No,
but basically just saying like he's a better version of Michael Bisping. He's a younger,
I don't think Bisping
newer,
ever had the finishing
better
power
version.
like Whitaker. Though.
Right. And he's younger. He's faster. He's
younger,
maybe more, like you said, more powerful.
Somehow, man, he just destroys dudes. He doesn't look it. He's kind of like, like Lineker is a small frame, but somehow builds up a huge power from that midsection somewhere and just destroys dudes. Robert is just, I mean, I can't doubt the dude anymore. I mean, not that I ever doubted him before, but when I thought Jacare was going to win that.
I thought he was making a huge mistake going up to middleweight. I'm like, this dude has no business competing at middleweight.
Unreal. Now he's the guy. I mean, like, Bisping don't want no part of that either. But he's got to fight somebody. I can see where but I was also thinking that if he got the fight with GSP and he was able to win, I wouldn't be surprised if he walked away. I think he's probably got 1 or 2 fights left.
Yeah.
And if he loses the belt, he might walk away at
he
that
said
point.
that. He said if I lose once I lose, I'm probably done.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, I don't fault the guy. He's not scared. That's the whole thing. He's not scared.
No, he's not scared. He's just being
dude.
smart.
He'll go fight a dude with a gun and a machete. You know what I mean? Michael Bisping is not scared. But it's the right career decision, right? If you know that the next time you lose, you're probably done, and you know that GSP is the biggest money matchup out there for you,
you want that pay.
You want that fight.
Yeah,
you want that pay. Can't blame him.
The dude has given of his body so much for this sport. I mean, like, one of his eyes, I mean, I know he could see it well enough to fight, but his eye is fucked. You know, and that's never going to change, you know. So, if, you know, I'm all for it. If he can get a big payday and then go out on a high note, thank you, sir, for all the fights. You deserve it. You know, I would just hate for him to lose and then try to go back up through that stuff and take more damage. Because the guys that are at the top right now are just killers. I mean, they're killers. And I'm happy for him to kind of pick his shot and do that sort of thing. But if that's gone and it's off the table and you got to let the division get back, that's the main thing that's drove me crazy about a lot of other divisions. They get held up.
That's the problem.
At some point, you got to free up the divisions.
You got so many talented dudes at 185 pounds right now.
Yeah.
And it sucks to put them all on hold.
Yeah. I mean, you want to have a champion to be able to say, have a little say in what their career path is. You made it to the top. You get a choice in the matter. You know, but at some point, the fight has to happen. A fight has to happen.
And, you know, if you did, like, let's say, like, Mike just gave up the belt. What if he's like, I'm giving up the belt. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to face GSP. Does that fight sell as well if the belt's not on the line? Probably not, right? Because,
no,
like,
I don't think GSP.
The thing about GSP going
GSP
for
wants
history.
The belt.
GSP going for history.
He doesn't just want to beat Bisping. He wants the belt.
Right?
He doesn't he doesn't care that
it's not as big of a fight. Like, if he was
went
just
to
say,
that
if he would say, look, I want GSP because I know this is a big fight. It's a super fight, and I want GSP.
Yeah.
And you're right. I don't want the middleweight division to be on hold. So I'm giving up my belt in order that these guys can keep fighting for what they want because I want GSP. I don't think the fight would sell.
Not as well. And I bet if it came to that point and it wasn't for the belt and then it was just about money, I guarantee GSP would ask for somebody more like Nick Diaz or somebody else where it's going to sell better than Bisping. I mean, if it was...
You're right.
I mean, even if it was in London or something like that, you're only going to get the ticket sales. You're not going to get pay-per-view buys for that fight. I mean, even though people want to see GSP, maybe you'll get some, but you need some bigger element to it. You know, I just don't think GSP would sign off because the kind of money that he wants to fight, you're not going to get that off just if there's not belt implications or unless there's a huge name on the other end.
And I don't want to do an interim belt, man. I'm so sick of interim titles right now.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Oh, it's such a mess. All right, Frankie Edgar.
It's garbage.
Dude, Frankie Edgar. I picked Yair Rodriguez going into this fight. I thought this was finally going to be the moment that we realized, okay, the next generation is here. Frankie Edgar, god damn, that dude is just, I mean, got to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. I just, as you said earlier, you said it perfect, man. We got to be non-biased. We got to cover this thing. But, you know, you develop relationships. I've never really spoken to Frankie Edgar outside of fight week. You know what I mean? I don't have a relationship with him on a personal level. But for me, just as I guess I hate to say a fan of the sport, but yeah, as a guy that sits back and watches fights, that dude is just amazing, man.
Yeah.
That guy is a guy I will pay to see fight. You know what I mean? Like if and I've said it before about other people. You know, Donald Cerrone was the guy I always said this about. And Frankie Edgar, man, if they came by to press row and they're like, guys, you know, sorry, but we got two options here. Either A, you got to step out for this one, or B, I need you to pay $50 for the pay-per-view price out of your personal pocket to watch this fight. I'm paying. I'm reaching for my wallet right away. You know what I mean? Like, this dude just cannot say enough about it. And just one of the greatest fighters on the planet, and this performance was amazing. Yair, I don't think Yair takes a step down. I don't feel like we saw Yair exposed. You know, we saw that Yair isn't the real deal, man. I think Yair is the real deal, and I think he could still be champion someday. But Frankie Edgar just looked amazing. And now, man, it's such an interesting position because, you know, if Max Holloway beats Jose Aldo down in Rio, easy. You do Max and Frankie all day. That's an easy call. That's the easiest fight booking that the UFC will ever do, right?
Yeah.
But, man, I'm telling you what, I know he's 0-2 against Jose Aldo, but if Aldo wins, how the hell do you not do Aldo and Edgar again? I know we just saw it, but goddamn, how is anybody more deserving than Frankie Edgar?
It's true. I love that fight. I mean, I'm with you. I'm always been a fan of Frankie, his work ethic. I mean, what he brings to a fight. This is your blue-collar dude. I mean, I think this is the kind of guy that, almost anybody can rally around, his fighting style as well as his work ethic. And I'd love to see another shot because I don't think it's the same Aldo that we saw in the past as well. I mean, this is still a very dangerous Jose, but again, I mean, a lot of shit's happened to Jose too. I mean, I'm excited to see him back. Like if he can get through Max, which he has definitely a chance to do so, I would love to see the Frankie fight again. I'm not bored with it. I'm not over that.
I'm not either.
I mean, I'd be more than happy to see it, and I think it'd be good for Frankie. I mean, besides that loss to Jose, let's see, he hadn't lost since 2013. Like, come on, y'all. Like, he's right there. He's right there. But if Max wins, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's an easy one, and that would be super, super exciting. I'd be very, very happy for Max if he can get through. But he's got a very, very tough shot because I still want to see that rematch between Conor. The fact that the last thing we saw was just 13 seconds. I'm still into it. I just don't know if we'd ever see Conor come back to it because now at this point,
I'd love to see Frankie and Conor. I'd love to see Frankie and Conor.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it. I think I'd still rather see Jose and him again to see if it was a fluke, if it was just perfect precision that caught a guy and that was the end of it, because I'd hate to see another guy. I mean, granted, Frankie and Chad Mendes are two totally different individuals, but Chad went in there, and I thought Chad was the answer. I thought he was going to be, the guy that was going to do. But then he had it going, and then took some shots, and then got tired. Granted, it was like super short notice, and then it was like, holy shit, he just finished him, But maybe the answer is the answer.
Maybe that's how you sell a third fight. You know what I mean? If Max Holloway wins, it's Max and Frankie all day. If Jose Aldo wins, maybe that's how you sell a third fight. Like, we know Conor's got the boxing thing going on, but while, after he's done boxing, he's coming back to defend the lightweight title. I'm not saying he will or not, but let's just say for the sake of marketing, that's what we go with, right?
Yeah.
And you say Jose Aldo wants his revenge. Frankie Edgar believes, Conor didn't fight him for a reason.
McGregor.
He's the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yes, they're fighting for the 145 title. But the implication being that they both said, Frankie's the former lightweight champ. Aldo said he wants to go up to lightweight. So maybe the implication is not only are we fighting for a 145-pound title, we're also fighting for the right to move up to 155 and get an instant title shot against Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think then you can go like, I know we've seen this twice before, but these are the two most logical guys. They both have a reason to want to fight Conor. Winner gets next. That might be a way to sell it, man. I think I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for it completely.
That'd be a cool little scenario right there. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, Max Holloway.
It puts the division on hold again while you let some other ones. But this would be Jose or Frankie. These are guys that, this is not just like chump change that they're just bringing in don't take this wrong, like bringing in a CM Punk or somebody from outside of the company to be like just to come in to fight.
Right.
These are champs that they're bringing up to the 155 to go for it. I would totally watch it.
I'm down.
I'd love to see it. But either one of those would be good. If it was Jose, whether it was Frankie, whether it's Max, I'd love to see Max. See how Max improved fighting Conor again.
I'm excited to see
Max. How about
Max
that
in Rio,
as well?
Man.
I mean, even Max being able to get a shot. I know Max wants that shot back.
Yeah.
He's is he the only one that's went to decision since he's been in the UFC?
Well.
Since Conor's been in the UFC, Max is the only one that's taken him to decision. And he had some good moments, but Conor looked really good as well. But
he's won 10 straight since then. This will be his 11th straight fight.
They both grew. I think if you looked at both of those fighters then and look at the fighters now, wow, how both of them have grown. Who's grown the most, you think? I mean, in stardom,
no question about it.
But, Conor was really good then. I think he's really shown some impressive ones. But I don't know if I can say that he's grown more than what Max has.
Maybe Max.
But boy, look at them both now from that fight. They both have went on such an incredible run, and they just look. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. You look at your former self, a couple years back, and look at you now. These are two guys that really have just grown leaps and bounds from when they first fought. That would be an incredible fight to see again.
Oh, looking forward to that. Man, it's about to get busy. It sucks. We did find out this week, man, full confirmation. You will not be in Rio, unfortunately.
Trying to
save a couple bucks. So, basically, it'll be me and Abby will be covering Stockholm. Sandu will be out there as well. Our man, MMA Junkie Pear, will be shooting photos. Stockholm will be next week. The week after that will be
MMA
myself.
Junkie Apple, MMA Junkie Watermelon, our new other photogs in other countries to go along with
You're so wrong. Rio will be myself and Fernanda Prates, of course, our Brazilian reporter down there in Rio. That's her
who
her
poo-pooed
hometown.
my great video idea.
Yes. By the way, we'll just say bikini breakdown and leave it at that.
It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Darn it.
So wrong. That was happening, and then it'll be me and you. They're doing the 2-week Auckland and Singapore swing, which should be fun.
We'll talk before then, but yeah, we'll have some new fun little things that we're going to try then. And actually,
some fun stuff.
Hopefully we'll try to do some new little things in Rio as well. Tease a few ideas and things we've been
So if you want
trying to do.
on-site coverage of all 4 of those events, there's only one place to go. MMA Junkie. Well, I guess 2 places to go. And the MMA Roadshow.
And the Roadshow.
And the Roadshow. We're kind of all part of that family. But I'm excited that we get to do that. Before I go to Stockholm, actually, next Tuesday will be the Ultimate Fighter 26 tryouts. You and I will be covering that. So we got a busy week coming up. We got this the athlete retreat, which we're hoping to shoot some stuff at. The grand opening of the facility is this Friday. We've already been there to the new UFC headquarters.
We're not doing anything on the Friday, though, right?
There's a
is that for
opening.
us too?
Yeah, it's
grand
for us.
opening's for us.
Yeah, bro.
Now it's like an old hat. We've already been there, like all through the place.
I've been there like 4 times.
Like screw your grand opening. Just we've been here.
Then after that, I'll be off to Stockholm. So we got a lot coming up. We got a lot of good stuff going on. Invictus this weekend, so there's some decent MMA. Even though there's not UFC going on, there's
love me some Invicta.
Quite a few cards going on. Couple shout outs real quick. Bryce Mitchell, MMA featherweight prospect, is now on Twitter. I saw this today at Thug Nasty MMA. He's never been on the MMA Roadshow, but he's going to be on the MMA Roadshow because he's a road. We've got our guys. We've got our guys, right? We haven't really made him a guy together, but he's my guy. He's kind of one of my up-and-comers that you got to watch. He fought a couple times in World Series of Fighting. I think he's 8-0 now with 8-0 with 8 submissions, 7 in the first round. The dude is legit, and he's country as fuck. It's hilarious. I think he told Joey Varner because his nickname is Thug Nasty, which is a little bit funny for a country white guy or whatever. And then Joey Varner was like, why is your nickname Thug Nasty? He's like, because you ain't seen me in the streets, man. It's just like, I love this guy.
I love it.
So he's legit. He's on the Jason Knight tip, which, by the way, Jason Knight, another big win at UFC 211.
Him and Chaz Kelly, that was a great fight.
Jason Knight is definitely one of our guys. Chaz Kelly's one of my guys now, too. That guy's got a fun attitude. That was a great fight. Jason Knight, he's been a roadshow guy for a while. Rashad Coulter lost to Chase Sherman, but how cool is that?
Great story.
It's a great story, man.
That was a good fight.
To pick up the fight, dude, there were so many times where Rashad could have just sat down and been like, I'm done, and continued to fight through it and swing back. And, dude, Chase Sherman's chin is insane. I mean, we saw it in his fight with Justin Ledet. I mean, the dude can take damage, and he was taking
the heart of Rashad, too. Like, his leg was gone. He couldn't even stand on it, but to literally will himself. And this is the guy that I know we talked before, lost his job shortly before, got the call to fight in the UFC. So he had a little breathing room, had his shot to do it, and he gave everything. And the guy deserves another fight. So hopefully, even if that was a one-shot deal, hopefully they decide to go back and get another one. And I know that Fight of the Night bonus, that extra 50 Gs, that's going to help out a lot. And, that's the kind of thing that, it could have went one way in that fight, but it was such an incredible fight. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Chase Sherman before. I just don't think he'd ever really performed at too high of a level. But after watching that fight, I was a big fan of his, a big fan of Rashad Coulter's. I'll be definitely looking forward to watch what those guys do. They put a lot of heart and a lot of effort out there.
They
and,
deserve. I'm glad they got the 50 Gs
I thought that was wonderful.
on a night that had a lot of great fights and a lot of great performances. I'm glad that held up because that's one of those ones. It was funny. I actually tweeted, during the show. I'm like, look, Dana, if you're not going to write him a check for 50 Gs, I will. Like, they'll never be able to cash it, but I'm going to write it. You know what I mean? But I'm going to write him a check for 50 Gs.
Yeah.
Just kind of having some fun with it, but I'm glad that held up because it was such a great performance.
Yeah.
James Vick, obviously I had talked to James Vick the week before the fight. He was saying, look, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to make a statement, and then I'm going to push. Like, the UFC needs – but guy's 7-1 in the octagon right now. And, dude, he is talented, man. And
well, it sounds like that's going to happen according to what he said on the radio show. Like, he got Dana's number, so they had some talks, and so hopefully things are going to work good for him. So I know you're going to jump back in the thing, but you're going to miss Junkie Gathering next week.
I know.
So I'm going to try to see if I can go to some of the events. I doubt I'll go to film or do any of the other stuff. So
just go hang out and have fun.
I think I'm going to just go and try to hang out with some of the Junkie guys. 'Cause I know a lot of the people that listen to us are big Junkie radio guys. So I'm going to see if I can't try to go to a couple of things. They're going out and around doing some stuff that
they're doing all kinds of stuff.
They're doing all kinds of
stuff. I saw the schedule earlier. Actually, George sent me the schedule earlier. They're doing an Extreme Couture versus Junkie Nation flag football game.
Yeah.
They're doing a couple of little food and beverage outings as you do when you're in Vegas. I think
they're having a comedy show or something.
Going to see a comedy show. They're going to have a trivia night, which is always fun, man.
Yeah, Friday night, I think they're having a big party or get together at the Speakeasy there at the Mandalay
Good stuff
Bay.
going on, man. The Junkie Gathering is fun. If you're in Vegas or I guess it would be kind of last minute for you to plan to come out now.
Yeah, right.
But dude, it's fun. The Junkie Gathering is awesome. I'm bummed I'm going to miss all of it.
But if you guys do come for the Junkie Gathering and you need and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to go to this certain event, there's always Boomer, so you could feel free to hit me up, and Thirsty Thursdays is always an option.
$1.25 pints of PBR.
Thirsty Thursdays.
Just
so
saying.
I'm not trying to counter schedule what Junkie's got going on. The Radio Boys are doing on Thursday, but
well, it looks like on Thursday night they're going to Purple Rain at the Westgate, which I'm assuming is a Prince tribute.
Yeah, it's like a Prince tribute.
All right, which don't get me wrong, dude, a Prince tribute. I'm a Prince fan.
But that's not going to take all night.
It's not going to take all night.
And Thirsty Thursdays all day.
If you want to pregame it, if you want to pregame Purple Rain, if you want to postgame Purple Rain, if you don't want a Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
I like it. I was just going to let you go with that for a while. All right.
I need the backing music.
Wrap it up, UFC 211. Courtney Casey. Man, I'm a big fan of Courtney Casey. She just, she came up through tough enough. She's a great girl, but she literally fights the toughest people out there every time she can.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't get the respect that we need to do a better job of giving her more love.
I agree, man.
We got to give her more love.
Enrique Barzola, I know most people don't give a shit about Enrique Barzola. I think this kid's talented, man. I've enjoyed watching him come through the ranks. He had a great performance against Gabriel Benitez. And then Gajimurav Antigulov, or Antigulov, I believe is the way it's pronounced properly in the John Anik way. Hey, all of a sudden, he's got a couple of impressive wins in the UFC. Maybe some new blood at 205 pounds. All right.
6 submission skills.
Last thing for me, just had to give, I don't want to say a shout-out, but just quick mention about Nick Catone. UFC veteran, I think fought 7 or 8 times in the UFC. And you heard in the post-fight speech that Frank Yeager gave, if you hadn't heard, Nick lost his 1.5-year-old son. Details, I haven't seen a lot of details, to be honest with you, but just want. I'm not a super religious guy or whatever, but I don't know, man. If you're a prayer kind of person or a karma kind of person or a whatever kind of positivity and love and whatever that you can offer into the universe to Nick Catone. To hear of that happening, the week that I was celebrating my son's birthday with my family in my hometown of Dallas, I just don't know if there's anything harder in the world to deal with. I know, Cool Coffee, you're not a parent, but I can't imagine that there's honestly a worse thing for a human being to have to deal with than the loss of a child. I just know what my son means to me and just the emotions that it stirs inside of me, and just can't imagine what Nick is dealing with and what those around him are dealing with. So I just didn't want to let it go unmentioned. And like I said, whatever energy you can put out there in the universe, whether it be through your religion or just your belief in whatever energies are out there, man, send it to Nick, because it can't be easy to deal with what he's dealing with. And yeah, just want to say
you said it good. Said it best.
Well, hopefully I did. I don't know there's a tribute big enough. So anyway, listen, don't want to end on a somber note, but
there is a GoFundMe.
Is there?
I saw that.
I didn't know that.
I see on this credit this MMA Mania. He was talking about there's a GoFundMe that has been set up to help him and his wife Marjorie. So
I will find that.
I don't know what the exact link is or whatever, but you guys can go out and look if you feel so moved or whatever. Feel free to kick him a little something to help out.
I will do whatever I can. There's no doubt about it. All right, listen. Hate to end on a somber note, like I said, but needs to be said. So, listen. All right. Our last little. Look at this. A little tweet from Charles Rosa with Dana White's courtside at the Boston Celtics game. Celtics and the Cavs.
Are they the Cavs still winning?
I don't know. They were winning early.
I certainly hope so.
All right, listen. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody's okay with us going a day early. Again.
Oh shit! 104 to 84 right now.
Game's over or still?
No, it's still going on, but game over.
Yeah, like I said, we wanted to have a little and a half action, and the fact that my wife needed me to watch my son tomorrow night just made it all the more easy to help the boss woman out and do what we need to do. It's going to get crazy. The MMA Roadshow business is about to pick up. Stockholm, Rio, Auckland, Singapore. That's what the MMA Roadshow is all about. We will have coverage from all those exotic locales. And when we're not there, we'll just be at Boomers, because, damn it, it's amazing. Thanks for listening.
Jiu-Jitsu.